Hey guys, this is Will at Third and Long. Today we are going to be looking at the new top 25 AP poll that we had coming out, seeing where every team fell, who went up, who went down, and who stayed where they were, and maybe what might be in store this week. Hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get started. Coming in at number 1, we had the Georgia Bulldogs. They played so bad on Saturday that had anyone else played good behind them, they could have jumped them. However, number 2, 3, 4, everybody played bad. So nobody was going anywhere. Georgia stayed at number 1. I'm perfectly fine with that. They did not play well, but no one else played well. So who was going to jump them? Everyone should really just stay where they were as of right now. Georgia continues to stink first half. Second half, they do dominate. They cannot rely on that because once you play a good team, they will take complete advantage of you first half. They need to get the offense going earlier. They need to get the run game going in the first half. But I'm fine with them being number 1. Michigan, number 2. They are staying at number 2 from the previous week. Michigan looked horrible this week. The offense looked horrible. JJ and McCarthy did not play well. However, they do get Harbaugh back this week. I do think things are going to completely change, and they will finally start letting loose, running the score up. I think they were just trying to go through the motions, make sure no one got hurt. Wait till Harbaugh comes back and start playing Michigan football. I'm fine with them staying at 2 because just like Georgia, no one behind them did any better. Moving up one spot, Texas Longhorns. They did not move up because they played well. They actually played like crap. They looked really bad. Quinn Ewers did not look good after the Alabama game, kind of a letdown playing Wyoming, but they did not play as bad as Florida State. So they did jump Florida State. They did move up to 3. I was perfectly fine with that. It really doesn't matter what happened. Everyone played bad, but they played the least as bad as Florida State. So they slide up one spot. Moving down to number 4, Florida State, who should have lost to Boston College. How is that possible? Florida State should have lost to Boston College, but Boston College had 19 penalties, costing them game at the very end. Florida State could not score at all fourth quarter when they had to. Could not get a first down when they needed to fourth quarter versus Boston College. Got outgained by Boston College. That's kind of concerning, but I'm not worried because they've looked really good this year. Everyone has one really bad game every single season. Hopefully this was their bad game and they got the win. So I'm fine with them going down to number 4. Doesn't really matter. They're still in the top 4 where they should be. USC, number 5, they were idle this past weekend, so they weren't going to go up or down. Coming in at number 6, Ohio State, they stayed where they were. The offense actually finally looked good from the second quarter on. They were throwing the ball, running the ball. Defense continues to play at a high level. This is really good going into the Notre Dame game because they've been straight up stinking. So they needed momentum going into playing Notre Dame at Notre Dame. So I'm fine with them staying at 6. A lot of teams just kind of stayed where they were. Next, we had number 7, Penn State. Again, not a good game. They should move up. I would be fine with them moving down one spot and Washington jumping them, but it really doesn't matter because they've played well this year on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So I was fine with them at 7. Coming in at number 8, we have the Washington Huskies, who continue to look the same every single week. Penix throws for 450 yards no matter who they played. Defense is actually playing surprisingly well. Now, once they get into conference play, things will get a lot more difficult. But Washington is looking really good. I would have moved them in front of Penn State this week, just because Penn State didn't play that well. If they would have played this week, I think Washington would have beat them. But it really doesn't matter. 7 or 8, they're kind of around where they should be. You don't want to flip-flop teams too much because Penn State didn't necessarily play bad, but they didn't play good either. Next, coming in at number 9, we have Notre Dame, who is primed and ready to play Ohio State this weekend. That's going to be the game of the weekend. I cannot wait. Notre Dame with Sam Hartman, Freeman, Esme, they look good on defense. They look good on offense, passing and running. They've been the most consistent team every week this year. Every week, the same product. So they cannot wait to play Ohio State. Ohio State finally had a good game, and they can't wait to play the Irish. So the Irish are right where they should be at 9. If they beat Ohio State, they will definitely be jumping up a lot to me. Coming in at number 10, we have the Oregon Ducks. They jumped up 3 spots, so we see some movement there. To me, they should be where they are. Definitely, I would have had them in the top 10 2 weeks ago because they've continued to look good every single week. Got a really good win. Defense has been somewhat questionable this year, but the offense has looked efficient under Bo Nix. They are 3-0. They are definitely, as of right now, a top 10 team. Coming in at number 11, we have Utah. They still don't have Cam Rising, but Johnson looked really good this week, but they only played Weber State. That's not an impressive win, but they finally scored over 20 points. That's a big accomplishment for them. Are they the number 11 team? No. Heck no. Did they just kind of fall into that spot, moving up 1 slot this week? Yes, just because they continue to win, and no one's really establishing themselves so far this year. But they are 11. I think they should honestly be around number 19 or 20. That's where they belong. I think they're extremely overrated. Once they get into conference play, their offense will not be able to keep up with the Ducks, Washington, and the Trojans. Next spot we had coming up was LSU moving up 2 spots, and they're 2-1. I'm perfectly fine being where they are. Very talented team. I did pick them to lose to Florida State, so I was not surprised there. They had a really good win versus Mississippi State, but post Mike Leach, Mississippi State is complete trash. Let's be honest. They're not good. Their offense looks horrible. Looks like it's an offense from 1970. They're not with the times. From being the air raid, they completely gave that up, and they will definitely live to regret it. Now, I'm fine with them being at number 12. Jaden Daniels continues to look really good running and throwing. However, he keeps being the leading rusher every single week. That is not sustainable. They need to develop a running back number 1. Coming in at 13, moving down 3 spots, Alabama. How did Alabama only drop 3 spots? They've stunk so far this year, especially back-to-back weeks. They won 17-3 versus USF. At halftime, the game was tied 3-3, and they only moved them down 3 spots. You have to punish teams that do not perform well. If you perform well, you get rewarded. If you suck, you get knocked down a couple of spots. Why are they number 13? Their first game, they did not play well. They relied solely on special teams to win the game. Second team, they got curb stomped by Texas. Third team, they almost lost to USF. Let's be honest. They have a complete quarterback controversy going on. They have 3 quarterbacks, which means they have no quarterbacks. They benched Milroe, started Tyler Buckner. He's not good. He wasn't good at Notre Dame, so he's always not been good. And then they brought in Ty Simpson, who did not look good. So who's their starting quarterback going into the Ole Miss game? I don't know, but Alabama, as of right now, has not played like the number 13 team. I'd have dropped them all the way down to 21 because they need to be penalized for that performance. Coming in at 14, we have Oregon State. They continue to win. They continue to win consistently. DJU looks really good. I feel so bad for them because after this year, they have no home. But the Pac-12 is really loaded. They have a lot of teams in the top 25 for how big that conference is. And it is the finale for the Pac-12 this year. But Oregon State moving up 2 spots, which they should, at number 14. Ole Miss, who stunk up last week playing Tulane, but they completely rebounded this week. Kiffin had that team ready to play. They did not have Quinshon Judkins. They did not need him. So Jackson Dart had a great game. Keep Judkins healthy for the Alabama game. They do deserve to move up 2 spots. If they beat Bama, they will be jumping up a lot. And we need to penalize Bama if they lose and drop them all the way down. But Ole Miss at number 15. Oklahoma continues to look like one of the more consistent teams this week, coming in at number 16. They have looked good on both sides of the ball. Offense, defense. That D-line's playing a lot better than last year. Dylan Gabriel, so far he's not getting Heisman buzz. If he continues to play this way, by around week 9, he will definitely be in that conversation. But as of right now, Oklahoma in at number 16. Coming in at 17, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They had a very good win versus Minnesota. Minnesota has absolutely no offense, but they have a very good defense. They did put up over 30 points on them. Drake May, continues to me to not look comfortable under Philip Lindsay's offense. I think he does miss Phil Longo, but nonetheless, they did move up 3 spots, just like Oklahoma and Ole Miss, and they are in at number 17. Coming in at 18, moving up 3 spots, the Duke Blue Devils. They continue to win, but Riley Leonard cannot be running for 100 yards and passing for 200 yards every game. Someone else needs to step up as the running back, but nonetheless, Duke continues to win every week. They continue to win consistently. They look good on offense, defense, and special teams. Moving down 1 spot, Colorado. A lot of hype this week for the Colorado State game. They did win, but it took them into overtime to get the win versus a not very good Colorado State team. But nonetheless, Colorado is showing a lot of heart, staying in games. They were down. They had to fight back, go into overtime, and get the win in overtime. I'm perfectly fine with them being at 19 and with them having gone down 1 spot. That is perfectly fine. Moving up 2 spots, we have the Miami Hurricanes, who beat the crap out of Bethune-Cookman. Tyler Van Dyke does look like an under-the-radar Heisman contender so far after week 3. Now, Miami looks good on defense and on offense. So, Mario Cristobal, changing coordinators, was a genius move. Lance Guidry looks great on defense. Shannon Dawson has completely rebuilt this team on offense, and they look great. So I'm fine with them moving up to 20. You know, I think they're more of a 18, 19 team so far, but 20 is pretty close. They will definitely, they have Temple this week, so they'll continue to climb up going into that Clemson game later this year. Coming in at 21, we have Washington State. Another team, just like Oregon State, that has no home after this year, but yet they continue to play well. Ward is doing great at quarterback. They are 3-0. They moved up 2 spots. I'm perfectly fine with them being at number 21. Coming in at number 22, the UCLA Bruins. So everyone's just kind of moving up 2 spots, basically. The whole group is just sliding up. They did get a pretty good win. They're 3-0. They moved up 2 spots. I'm perfectly fine with that. Moving down 12 spots. Really getting penalized here, the Tennessee Volunteers. They're 2-1. I'm fine with them being at 23, but when you see the number 25 team, this makes no sense. Why is Tennessee 23 and Florida 25? Florida just beat them convincingly. Why not just flip-flop them? Shouldn't Florida be in front of them? They have the same record. Florida lost to, as of right now, the number 11 team. Why is Tennessee in front of them by 1 spot? That makes absolutely no sense. It's actually pretty stupid. So if you're going to put Florida in the top 25, Florida should be at 23. Tennessee should be at 25. So I don't agree with that at all, and I actually think that's pretty dumb. And obviously no one put any thought into that. Coming in at 24, we have Iowa Hawkeyes. They finally scored over 25 points this game. That's pretty monumental for their program. It's probably not going to happen for the next 20 years, so that's a pretty big deal for them. Nonetheless, they moved up 1 spot. They don't play anyone this year, so they'll do well, but their offense will continue to look like complete garbage. And like I say every week, Kirk Ferentz needs to fire his son at offensive coordinator. At 25, we have Florida. Like I said, I don't agree with that. They should have flip-flop with Tennessee. If you're going to put Florida in there, with Florida having 1 loss to a top 11 team, Tennessee shouldn't be 1 spot in front of Florida when they just lost to Florida. So put in Florida at 23 and drop Tennessee down to 25. The other teams getting votes, Clemson getting 76 votes. Clemson should be back in the top 25. Dump Iowa right out of the top 25. They don't belong right now. Put Clemson back in. Missouri had a really good win. I would have been fine with them getting into the top 25. Kansas State did drop out after losing to Missouri, and that was a really close game. That's the next 3 that I'd see getting back into the top 25. So that's my breakdown of the new AP Poll Top 25. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.